inflation has come down, and yet people are still complaining about cost of living. I mean, the Reserve Bank and the government is going, yes, we've got on top of inflation. But prices have been lifted to this high watermark, right? They're not coming down.
Yeah.
They're going to stay there.
The lower inflation is on top of the higher inflation we've just had, and wages haven't kept pace with it. That's always been the problem.
While the government is preening itself, there's a problem out there. People are still complaining. So you're going to really do two things: get more money in, or this is where you come in.
Oh, this is where I come in. Yeah.
So when it comes to your pay packet, what is one of the biggest line items that people just accept?
Tax.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, may I go on?
Please.
Okay. That is the crux of the matter, right? You can't say, okay, everybody in Australia is going to get a 20% pay rise to cover the cost of living, right? It would be extraordinarily inflationary, and it would crush the economy.
Yeah. So a better alternative is just to stop taking so much money out of people's pay packet.
Yeah. So, let's say the people who are most affected by the cost of living problems are the people at the bottom of the economic ladder. Say from $0 up to $90,000 a year, right? They're the ones who suffer, and they're the ones who are paying tax, right?
Yep.
If you're earning $500,000 a year, and the tomatoes go up, 50 cents a kilo, it's not a big deal for you. The burden falls on the lower group who can least afford it. A simple solution to the cost of living for those people that's most affected is to remove taxation altogether. No income tax on anybody up to the average income of $90,000 a year.
The impact on the government's tax take, if that was the case, if the people earning $90,000 were paying no tax, they're 50% of taxpayers, right? But they only contribute 12%
Yes.
of the total tax take that the government
Absolutely.
gets.
Now, the obvious question is, if you take that money out of the government coffers, you can't just let the government go further into deficit to pay for it. You have to compensate for it.
Yeah, but you're not talking about a government which, and they're very practiced at this, giving with the left hand and taking with the right.
I'm talking about shifting the needle from the people who can least afford to be paying the tax and haven't got any choice, it's taken out of their pay packet, shift it to other segments of the economy. This is an idea that has had a lot of support amongst economists over a long period of time. Apply a transaction tax to every debit and credit going into and out of bank accounts. It'd be tiny, it'd be 0.2%.
Talking about taxing the trillions of dollars that slosh through the
Every
Australian.
year,
So instead of taxing people, you're taxing money.
Taxing money.
And you're taxing a tiny percent. So instead of the government reaching in and taking out a fistful of your hard-earned dollars every week or month, they're not doing that. Instead of that, they're taking little nibbles from all this money that floshes through the economy, and that is going to replace that 12% that the government has lost because they're not collecting tax from people earning 90 grand.
Yes. Someone on $90,000 a year who's currently paying about $400 per week out of their pay packet would now be paying about $10 in transaction taxes.
Right.
So they're way ahead, and that would totally compensate them for the cost of living. You would have to also at the same time raise pensions, any social security payments, so they don't have to have an extra small burden put on them, so they don't get affected. And then you've got a complete system that takes care of everything. If you've got a multi-millionaire that pays $20 million for a house, they're going to get slugged with that 0.2% actually adds up to quite a few bucks. If you remove the tax on the actual people doing the damn work, the guy working in, say, a factory is more likely to say, yeah, I'll put my hand up for overtime because I get to keep all the money and not pay half of it to the government. would have a huge impact on productivity,
huge.
and that is a benefit to the economy and to all of us. When the good party gets into power,
Yeah.
this is their policy, and no other party has this policy.
No.
And it is a damn good policy,
And if it's
foundational.
Yeah, and if it was introduced, that's the end of the cost of living crisis.
Let's do it.